else here. Hey guys, this is Luke from Castle Row Studios. I'm here to show you a way of editing drums. There are multiple ways, Beat Detective and Pro Tools being a big one. I'm gonna show you how to do it manually today because there are instances where it's just better than doing it with Beat Detective. What I have here today is a track from Mallory Eagle. It's unreleased, so I'm gonna have to leave the vocals muted, but here is the 8-bar section that we're gonna be looking at today. It's already really solid drumming, so there's not any significant editing to be done on this, but here's a look at it. Very tight, as you can hear. So here's where I would start. First of all, the drums have to be grouped together, which they are, as you can see here. I'm gonna select the region, and I'm gonna kind of make a decision as to how deeply I want to edit this. There's really nothing over a 16th note happening here, so let's just kind of keep it at 8th notes on the 8th note grid. Right, so we start with the first hit. I'm gonna zoom in. As you can see, it's pretty far off. I'm gonna actually get into tab to transient mode here. Tab, it's gonna take me to my first transient. Gonna hit Command D. Switch to the grabber tool. You can also use the smart tool. I didn't learn that way. I just manually switch between tools. It's just faster for me. Don't ask me why. I'm gonna separate the region. Command E, click, hold Command, and it'll drag it. It'll snap it actually to the grid. Great. Make a quick fade here. Awesome. Let's go ahead and tab to the next transient. It's right here. Zoom out to be sure. This is a good section to point out. There's a pretty good flam right here, but in this piece, it's pretty musical, so we want to leave that. We don't want to, and there's nothing really you can do anyway about a flam being recorded without sounding just messed up. So let's kind of just check it out first in context. It's awesome. I don't really feel like I need to move that. Also, just kind of a rule of thumb for me on flams is to kind of split the difference of both hits over the grid marker. So as you can see, there's a floor tom and a rack tom being hit at the same time here. And notice the grid marker in the middle. So we're splitting that beat basically between the two elements, which is what a flam is. Okay, so moving on. Tab over, we're gonna kind of find the top of this transient. Separate, pull it over, put in a fade. See what's popped up here? This is the edge of the clip that I dragged over, so I didn't make this fade correctly. Need to pull this back. Great. And you basically want to continue this process, keeping an eye on mostly your close mic'd elements. Because if you get those, then your rooms are gonna just line up nicely. But you want to keep an eye on those too. You want to keep an eye on all of it. All right, so next is a floor tom hit. I'm just gonna do maybe like 4 or 5 separations here, just to kind of show you how quickly it goes. Great. Okay, so there's 4 edit points I just made. Let's listen from this first. something sounds kind of funny there. It may be something I'm not used to, but let's just solo it up and double check. Sounds great. Notice how after I edited these regions here, these clips, it actually pulled this one, this transient, basically right on top of the marker. That's gonna happen, and you can just kind of just skip over it and go to the next one, right? It may be a little bit forward on this one, so I am gonna scoot it back a little bit. But if the edit point lands on the grid afterwards, then you're golden. Move on. Make this transient a little bit bigger so I can really see the impact. That's pretty cool. This song kind of has a feel of being behind the beat anyway, so if there are any discrepancies and they are behind the grid, I'm going to be more open to that than if they were ahead of the beat. Alright, so we can kind of see things are off here. I'm just going to continue this process. I'm going to finish out the rest of the, let's see, maybe another 4 bars or so.
A few bars later.
See how this is another flam? Let's go ahead, and since we've made the decision to kind of straddle the flams over the grid markers, let's go ahead and, you know, keep that continuity going. So I'm gonna make a separation right here, kind of just manually drag it with the grabber tool, like so. Awesome.
A few flams later.
Okay. So let me just make the selection back to the top of this section. All right, now let me turn the click track on. If you notice, you can kind of hear the click track disappear. It's pretty awesome, and those flam hits, they sound musical still, especially if we put it back in the track. Let's see. Awesome. All right, so this is how I manually edit drums. There are multiple ways of doing it. This is what this instance called for. I may use something a little different on another style of song. If this is country, if it was a metal song, I may get a little more detailed because that's just the style. I may edit up to a 30-second note grid. It's just a thing that you have to consider whenever you go in to do these edits. So if you have any questions about how I do this, let me know in the comments. Thank you.